Live. We're live. Hello. Welcome. I'm Terry McGill. I don't know where you are, but I'm in Portland, Oregon. And it doesn't matter where you are or where I am because we are a worldwide community. We really got the message more and more deeply the last 2 years when our world changed. Thank you, COVID. Um, yeah, the good news and the bad news, huh? So after about 6 months, I'd been reading stories about how COVID was affecting people's lives. And I began to feel that there must be something that I could do to help overcome the loneliness, the separation. People were afraid to be together, and until we become a saint, and we don't need anybody else, we need each other. And so, who's your neighbor is to introduce you to who your neighbors are. And they may not be down the street, across town, or even in the same state, or even in the same country. We are a world, there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, we are a worldwide village. And really, I think we're all children. We've got so much to learn. So that's how this started. And more of the good news, this must be episode 35 now, one a week. And I have one of the best jobs in the world. I get to meet new, fascinating people and introduce them to you every week. This week, Christine Myers is just a fascinating woman. And you'll learn what Metatron's pyramid means or is about. And you'll learn how Reiki and drumming can go together. And I'm going to ask our producer to bring Christine. There she is. Welcome. Hello again.
Hi, Terry. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I tell you, I love Tuesdays. Wherever you are in the world, when you're watching this, if you're watching or recording, we do this every Tuesday night. So that's why I say I love Tuesdays. So, Michelle, gosh, well, where to start with you? Let's start with what the heck is Metatron's pyramid?
Well, Metatron's pyramid is located in Kalama, Washington, and it is a sacred temple built by my dear friend Alana and her husband Mike. It is a place for like-minded souls to gather and heal and really send that love back out to the community.
Tell us about the construction of this temple.
The pyramid is built from all brass screws and copper shingles to highlight and activate that energy center on the sacred land. And before they even got started building this pyramid, they actually had the Cowlitz tribe come out. They held a beautiful ceremony to bless the land. So it's really not just this pyramid, it's the whole property that is so magical. We have this pyramid that we can go into for sacred ceremony. And then we also have a healing studio for the larger groups that is just phenomenal. The energy is outstanding. Yes.
That I have been in. Yes. In fact, that's where we met. Well, we met outside, but then we went in there. Yeah. So it's made out of brass shingles and copper screws?
Copper shingles and brass screws. So there's no metal allowed in it. It will disrupt the frequency and your divine connection with source. So we wanted to do everything. Well, I didn't build it. Alana and Mike built it, but they wanted to do everything in their power to make sure this connection was pure and tailor-made for each individual who enters into the pyramid.
So what has been your experience in the pyramid?
So many magical moments. I guess I went in there about a year after it was built, and I was kind of in this weird stage of my life where I was unemployed and I really didn't know which way to navigate my next career move. And I went in there for about an hour and I had amazing downloads and visions of what I'm actually doing now, and that's hosting events on this sacred land. It has removed layers and layers of old, outdated thought patterns and things that no longer serve me from past lives, from this life. It's, spectacular.
Wow. So your like career is part of it anyway, is to host events there?
Yes. Yes.
So
yes.
What kind of events? Give us 2 or 3.
The one I host monthly is every first Saturday is Sacred Drum Circle, and that one's held inside the Healing Studio, where we do a lot of drumming, and then we go into a guided meditation.
So and that's every first Saturday?
Yep, every first Saturday of the month. And then I also host inside the pyramid full moon circles.
So for those of you who are listening, watching, maybe doing both, if you're within, Kalama, Washington, or Kalama is about 40 minutes north of the Portland airport from Portland. It makes sense. Right. Portland Airport, Portland. So if you're within a couple of hours of driving distance of Kalama, Washington, boy, do a road trip. So first Saturday of every month?
Yes.
And do they need to connect with you first?
Or it is because, some of these events do sell out pretty fast. So it is nice to hop online to the website and reserve your seat.
So I don't know if we have a link to the website. I know we've got your email address, so they could connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Or it's metatronspyramid.com.
Well, but they would have to spell it.
True. We can add it in the
and just as an aside, I did not spell it right the first time. So you can connect with Christine. We're going to put her email address and her social media into the chat room, and that's going to be there as long as this webcast is up, which could be 10 years. And it's also going to be on YouTube, and Christine will have that YouTube link as soon as we translate it, and you're going to be able to connect with her and get all this information.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of events up there, not just me. I think we have 6 practitioners who host chakra healing events, Reiki Circle. We have an Inner Kingdom one, a Metatron guided meditation. There's so many fabulous practitioners out of this little.
So that is Metatron's Pyramid, which is in Kalama, Washington. And it's got an incredible view of the Columbia River. I was there for the open house recently, a month or so ago. And so that's part of you, but there's another part of you, or 2 or 3.
Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot. I'm a Gemini, so I feel like I have to have, a little bit of everything. I'm also a Reiki master. That's actually how I met Alana, who owns the pyramid. We went through our Reiki trainings together. She's my Reiki sister. So I also host private events and one-on-one sessions inside the pyramid as well.
So you also, when you're doing drumming, bring a friend with you, don't you?
I do. So my drum, let me see if I can grab it really fast. So drumming is one of my most sacred tools.
I could feel that. Yeah.
Yes, I talk about her a lot. She makes me very proud. I like to bring her into drum circle with us, and then I also bring her with me to all my other events. If I host full moon circles, new moon circles, she's very sacred to me.
Yeah. What is the hide of your drum?
This is a horse hide.
Horse.
She represents freedom and independence. This was made.
That fits really well with your personality, I would guess.
Yes, it does. It does. It really represents not being locked into anything and really being fluid all throughout life. Yeah.
So there's another, I'm sensing that there's something else about your drum and you. Horses and equine therapy. I became familiar with that, I don't know how many years ago. And the herd instinct is amazing. And you have a connection. Yes, I'm not doing this from Terry's mind. You have a connection with Equus, the oversoul of horse. So that may be new information.
It is, but it makes sense.
So there's a book called The Tao of Equus, Equus. And it's, I forget the woman's name now. Can't recall it, I should say. I don't want to say I forget. It's quite a read.
Mm-hmm.
I had a spiritual journey reading the book.
Wonderful.
I became aware of what I call the oversoul of horses. So that just came through, and it just shared itself with you.
Beautiful.
You have something else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely a story that's tied into my lineage. I know drumming goes back centuries. It's an ancient tradition. You can find it in almost any culture. For me personally, I actually started doing drum readings. My drum started showing me images and telling me a story. I started reading emotions from it while I was inside Metatron's pyramid. Nobody knew what it was. No one had ever heard of it before. And I started doing some research on my lineage, and it turns out my family originated from Finland and has a very close connection to the Sami tribe of Scandinavia, who also do drum readings and do sacred work with drums. So it all kind of came together. It was beautiful.
Well, that must have been a real surprise to find out you're doing drum readings and you inherited, or your lineage is that.
Yes.
Wow. That is fascinating. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's something that's very sacred to me, and it's not very well known. I did a psychic fair this weekend, and it was a hit. People were just amazed at the emotion and the messages I was bringing forward to them. It was spectacular. She did outstanding.
I have never heard of it either, and I've been doing this stuff since probably 1970s. Drum readings. So I'm sensing that, or maybe it's just selfish, I'm sensing that our listeners might like to have an experience of a drum reading.
Sure.
If you would like, I'll volunteer to be we don't want to say guinea pig. Oink, oink. Would that be good?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and just kind of try and make a connection with the drum if you can. She really loves the attention. If you can see it, I don't want to cover my whole head up.
Well, I saw the picture of it earlier today when I was looking at something that you had posted, and it has 3 feathers, doesn't it?
Yes, so the Sami people, they would actually adorn their drums. If I can get it in the camera. So I do drum adorning as well. I have this really strange obsession with feathers. I make all kinds of feather jewelry. I do drum adorning with feathers. I make feather headpieces. So I had to get her all dressed up for her debut this weekend.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
when you're doing a drum reading, does the drum make sounds? Or do you just connect with it?
Nope, she doesn't know. She just lets me read her hide and just kind of tell me a story. Let me see. So right away, I'm getting an image of a fox. And fox tells me that it is one of your helpers, one of your animal guides. And of course, up here, I'm seeing, I wish I could show you. Up here at the top of the drum is your spiritual connection. The center part is your spiritual connection.
Spiritual connection.
Yeah. And that will show me any spirit guides that you have. And then the center part of the drum are current events. And then the lower part of the drum is how you show up on this planet, how you allow yourself to give yourself space, and any animal guides or plant guides that might be there to help you as well.
Fascinating. Yeah. So to our listeners and watchers, would you like to have a drum reading? I'll bet Christine can do those over the internet.
I can. I do them frequently over the phone. Yes. Yes. It's wonderful.
So do you want to do any more?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to try and show you up here, this white space up here is telling me that you're very connected with Source. You're actually a divine channel. There's a little white piece over here that kind of shoots down and connects to you. That tells me you're also showing up in others' lives as a earth angel type of energy, showing up at the right place at the right time, just when you're needed. Yeah. I'm seeing lots and lots of guides, though, with you that are walking on the planet with you. Lots of spirits. At least 5 that you work with consistently. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but they're beautiful.
Yeah, I have 5 what are called Shufu, high-level guides.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. They're helping you along your path. I can see them. Over here is your path, and over here is going to be what you're moving towards. So they're kind of pulling you in this direction. They're definitely helping highlight, every step you take on this planet. So, yeah, this is a little bit of what I do. Yeah, it's just my little thing. I love doing it. I love relaying messages. I love also that I get to connect people to helpers that are not of human form. And I like to remind everyone that I work with to call on your guides, to call in those helpers, even for those little tiny tasks, even if it's to help you find better parking or to get early appointments. Because once we remove those little tasks that tend to stack up for us, it's easier for us to work on the big things, those big tower moments, if you want to call them. So, yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to connect with you aside from tonight. I want to know more.
Perfect.
So that's so fascinating about your Finland tradition, your lineage. I'm just caught up with, wow, you're doing drum readings. It just appeared in your life. And then you do research and you find out, yeah, that's part of your lineage. That is so fascinating.
Yes. It was a treat. It really was. And it was really hard to find. They were shamed for a lot of years. So my family didn't speak of them at all. It was not talked about. So it took me hours of research to dig it up, but it was there. It was beautiful. I loved it.
I'm very happy for you for that.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. I can feel your happiness. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned feathers, and then I see feathers behind you. Is there some link with you and that hanging behind you?
Well, the hanging behind me, it just so happens that's just how it aligned. I'm actually at my brother's house, but I saw the feathers, and I love feathers. I have a flock of chickens at home. I begged my husband to let me have chickens, and they started molting, and I had all these feathers, and I was like, I have to do something with them. And I started making jewelry. I started making feather earrings, and then I started selling them. And I turned into making headpieces and necklaces and drum adorning. And it's a business that's running itself now. So that's another part of the Fluid Soul.
Wow. So you are a real Gemini.
I
am. Talk to you for 10 minutes. That's not enough. Talk to you for an hour and find out 6 different things you do.
Yes.
So, wow. I'm really fascinated, and there's a part of me that's working away with this information at the unconscious level. So I'm pausing, and it's like I don't have any conscious thoughts, but I know that there's a lot going on inside, or underneath, or underground, or whatever you call it. Yeah. So what do you have coming up every Saturday? At what time of day is it on Saturday? You have the drum circle.
1 to 3:30.
So it's Saturday afternoons.
Yep.
And that's Pacific time zone.
Yep.
And do you have any way, have you yet brought people in by telephone or Zoom, or do they need to be in person?
It's in person for right now. Yeah.
And how many people can what's the name of the room?
The Healing Studio. Studio. I think we can fit about 17 people comfortably. Yeah.
Without sitting on each other's lap.
Right. Drumming, you always get really heated when we're drumming. So we have to make sure we have lots of space to kind of release everything that's been stuck to you.
So when you say when we're drumming, do people bring their own drums?
If you have your own drum, your own rattle, bring them. But we have extras as well. We had one of our really good friends brought in homemade rice shakers, and they were magnificent. We do a group drum clearing at the very end, where we put whoever wants in the center of the room, and then we do a drum clear 5 times. We clear them head to toe, just as one last big effort to just kind of let it all go and let it all release. Yeah.
I'm feeling it. That must be really intense to be in the center. Wow.
Yeah.
So this is what my sense is. I know one woman in Portland who does singing bowls, and it's transcendent. And I've been there. and I'm just sensing that hers is a completely different frequency than I suspect the drums are. So if you want to clean yourself or get cleaned,
Yeah.
and if you want to do a road trip to Kalama, Washington, remember it's not even an hour north of Portland.
And the drive is beautiful. You're up and down the freeway at the Columbia River. It's gorgeous.
Wonderful. Wow.
Yeah.
So what else would you like to share with us this evening?
I think that's all I have. I know I have a full moon circle coming up October 9th. That's from 6 to 8. That's a full moon circle held inside the pyramid, limited to only 10 people.
So one question.
Yeah.
When I was there at the open house, somebody asked Mike, I believe it was, if he had glow sticks.
Yes.
So what's all that about?
So because we can't have any metal in the pyramid, we had to find a way to give a little bit of light so we're not bumping into each other. So we use glow sticks, so it gives us just enough light to see each other, but still be able to sink down in that deep meditation.
So there's no windows in the pyramid, are there?
Nope. There is a little center at the very tip, the point of the pyramid, where there's a beautiful crystal that will eventually start to glow. It is beautiful. So when you're in there and give it about 10, 15 minutes, it will start to radiate. It's so beautiful.
That is just transcendental. So
Yeah.
The crystal doesn't have light. It's not wired.
Nope.
It's just
there's heat and there's air, but there's no lights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Magical. So to our watchers and listeners, I did this. You can look up Metatron's pyramid on the web, and there is a large one at Mount Shasta. And then there's a history of Metatron, an ascended master, and the pyramid. And if I remember right, there were actual specific dimensions and angles that had to be followed to build the pyramid correctly. Is that right?
Yes, all the pyramids are all aligned. So she went to the Shasta pyramid and got the blueprints from the master builder who had aligned it with all the pyramids in Egypt. And so she used the exact specifications and built her pyramid the exact same way. So they are all aligned. So the energy is even more enhanced.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christine, thank you so much for being our guest tonight. So, Christine, and I love your email name, The Fluid Soul. And I guess fluid fits really well with Gemini Soul, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
fluidsoul@gmail.com. You can connect with Christine for information about what she's doing and others at Metatron's Pyramid, and she'll mail you the correct spelling. I'm still remembering that I did not spell it correctly.
Yes, we'll reach out to you.
When I was doing an internet search, it said, "Did you mean this?" Like, probably. Yeah. So you also have a Facebook page, The Fluid Soul, and Instagram, the _fluid_soul_LLC, and YouTube, Reiki for the Fluid Soul. So our viewers, if you don't remember anything else except drumming and the Fluid Soul, you're on a roll. So Christine, thank you so much. I am going to connect with you. I know we may be doing stuff in the future. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And so thank you again for being our guest tonight.
Mm.
And let's see, I don't see any posts from our viewers. Um, Usually there's very few people who are watching on a Tuesday night because there's other things going on, events, and there's a I know there's a special one going on right now that the Dow Center in Portland is putting on. Um, but in 10 days, usually there's 130 views or more, and then we'll send you the link to the YouTube video, and you can share it with your tribe.
I will. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, I will connect with you soon.
Wonderful. Terry, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful.
Well, it is wonderful, which is why I wanted you here. You're a wonder, and I want more people to know about you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, the other thing that I would like to let everyone know about, and um, our producer and I gave Christine an example of this before the show started, and that is what's called Tao Healing Hands. It is a way to offer healing to others, and it's almost literally unlimited. Um, the only limits is, you can't heal the world with Tao Healing Hands because um, we couldn't handle that much frequency coming through us. And the other thing is, people have to learn their lessons. But there, if you would like to learn about how to become a healer, then if you go to this website, 5levelsofcreationportland.com, and you don't have to write it down now. We'll put it over. Actually, is it already there? Not yet. It'll be over there in the chat room, and then that's going to be there. So you can come back to YouTube. Excuse me. You can come back to Facebook and see the recording. It'll be probably reposted once we end it, then live. Then it takes about 30 seconds or so before you can replay it again. In case you came in late, you want to catch the early part. And we'll put the link there for Tao Hands, and you'll have all of the ways that you can catch up with Christine. In fact, it looks like, yes, this wonderful engineer, producer for our show, the lovely Michelle, she's found Metatron's Pyramid.com copy of template and more. So, and then, of course, all of Christine's ways to connect with her. If you've ever had a reading, I'll bet you've never had a drum reading. So fascinating, isn't it? Her lineage, discovering number one. Can you imagine just you're with your drum and caressing the horse hide, and you begin to get images, and then you start exploring your heritage and find out that who knows how many years ago, decades, hundreds of years, your ancestors did drum readings. I'm still going, wow, about that one. So I'm going to be fascinated for an hour with this. So I'll say goodbye to you for now, or aloha from Who's Your Neighbor. This is every Tuesday, and that's 7:30, 7:30 to 8 or whenever we end. That's Pacific time. I say Portland, Oregon time, but you might think of it as Vancouver, BC, or San Francisco, or San Diego. It's all the same time zone. And you don't have to worry about the time because these are all recorded. You can view past shows. I especially suggest you take a look at two of them. One of them is Leslie Zemanek, who used to do palm readings, and now she has gone to a whole new level. And then the other one is a bicycle library, or rather a library on a bicycle. It's been replicated. It grew up here in Portland, Oregon, been going on for probably 11, maybe going on 12 years now. And it's for the unhomed. I don't call people homeless anymore. It just doesn't feel right. I used to, but it doesn't feel right anymore. So this library is ridden to where they gather, and it's fascinating. You go find out the rest. And we'll be back next week. Until then, it's a great life.